Hi, this is Nicholas Bell with Ion Cinema, here to review Concrete Cowboy, the directorial debut of Ricky Staub, which premiered at the 2020 Toronto International Film Festival. It's based on a 2011 novel, Ghetto Cowboy. Dan Walser and Staub adapted the film, which will be premiering on Netflix on April 2nd, 2021. So basically, the background of the story is about the Fletcher Street Stables, an actual community of urban cowboys in North Philadelphia. But it starts out in Detroit, centering around the character named Cole, a troubled teenager played by McLaughlin of Stranger Things. He's expelled from school. His mother has had to deal with this one too many times, so she tells him to get in the car and she drives him from Detroit to North Philly and drops him outside his estranged father's house, Harp, played by Idris Elba. There he meets Nessie, played by Lorraine Toussaint, a friendly neighbor who's also part of the stable community. And everything kind of starts to go along as you would expect, as an estranged father and son trying to get along. Cole reconnects with an old friend from his youth named Smush, played by Jerome of Moonlight. But Smush has started to kind of get into dealing, so immediately Harp kicks Cole out of his house, saying if you're going to hang out with Smush, you can't live here. So he has to try to say goodbye to him, as much as Smush doesn't really want that to happen. Meanwhile, he starts to accept his fate, having to scoop horse feces out of the stables. We start to get meet a few of the other community members, why they're there, what they're kind of all about. Method Man plays Leroy, who is a police officer, but who once was part of their community, who's kind of at odds with them, but also a bridge between law enforcement looking out for them. Encroaching gentrification means that the horses are eventually yanked out of the community, which causes conflict. And then after a tragedy involving Smush, we wrap this up with what's meant to be a meaningful ending. I think this is the second time I've seen this film, and I think the most interesting elements kind of come in the end credits, when we realize that several of the cast members are actually playing themselves. They're actual members of this community, which would make a fascinating documentary subject based on the erasure of black cowboys and their history, which we see very infrequently. You might get snippets of that in more contemporary cinema, like the Magnificent Seven remake from Antoine Fuqua. Even Annie Silverstein's Bull, starring Rob Morgan and Yolanda Ross, I think tapped into that kind of intimate community that we just don't have any representation of. And so it seems like an unnecessary distraction that we have to be kind of locked in this cliched father-son trajectory. Idris Elba actually isn't even given that much to do. And a lot of Staub's direction has these actors and the screenplay, everything feels very obvious and on the nose. Like when Cole realizes why he's named Johnny Coltrane after Elba, does a good job delivering this monologue as he saunters over the radio or the record player to put on John Coltrane, but it all just feels very heavy-handed. Even Lorraine Toussaint, who's a fantastic character actress for several decades worth of sterling work, I think got saddled with a lot of clunky dialogue that is overly dramatic, and it doesn't really... it's telling more than showing, but not in a way that is actually meaningful or ultimately heartfelt. So overall, fascinating subject, wrapped up in kind of a corny package, unfortunately. Overall, I would give Concrete Cowboy 2 out of 5 stars. Thank you.
Hey, this is Eric from IonCinema.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.